Hi there, and welcome to today's vlog. Wonder if you've ever seen the great British film Brief Encounter. It's widely regarded as one of the best films ever produced in Britain. Certainly very high in the top 10. It's set in the year 1939, just I think before the outbreak of the Second World War. Now, if you have not seen the film, I'll just give you a very brief précis. There's a lady called Laura, played by Celia Johnson. She's married. She's got 2 children. The marriage is okay, but she's a bit bored. Really, she doesn't feel all that appreciated. Once a week, she goes into town to exchange her library book and usually go to the cinema in the afternoon. On one occasion, she is having a cup of tea in the railway waiting room, and a gentleman comes in and sits at the same table because there's no other spaces. He's a doctor called Alec, played by Trevor Howard. They get into conversation, and then sometime later they meet in the film outside Boots, the chemist. And then again later they decide that they go to the cinema together, and this relationship develops until they fall in love. And towards the end of the film, there's opportunity for them to go off to the flat of a friend of Alex, and just before they're going to, well, I think you might know what's coming next. This friend comes back, and Laura realizes the mistake she's making, and she runs off, and they part company because I didn't say Alec also is married with 2 children. So they fall in love, but they're both struggling, well, Laura to a greater extent, with the fact that they're married and they have commitment to their husband and wife. Well, yesterday, Sue and I, with my sister Jenny and her husband David, went up to Scarborough because Brief Encounter was being put on at a theatre there, the Stephen Joseph Theatre. It's a theatre in the Round, and we were actually on the front row, which can, when you go to some sort of performance, it can be a bit dangerous, as you know, because you might get involved. Well, before the actual play began, the characters in the play kind of started mingling a bit with the audience, having a conversation. And the lady who plays the manageress of the railway cafe came and sat down next to me. The stairs were just next to me and engaged me in conversation. She was saying how she was in character, and she was saying, asked me, do I like cake? And I said, of course, yes. Do you like scones? Yes. She said, well, I might bring you one later on. I thought no more of it. Anyway, the play went on. It's a fantastic play, actually really well put on, really creative in the way they did it in a relatively small space. We loved the play. It was great. But this manageress later on, actually in the play, came again and sat down next to me and began talking to me. And she had in her hand a plate with scones and stuff on. And she said, would you like a scone? And then, excuse me, offered me one. And then I didn't know what to do with it. I sat there with it in my hand and said, go on, have a bite. So I had a bite. And so I was actually, in a very small way, a part of the play. So that was slightly embarrassing, but good fun at the same time. And the reason I mention all this is because this play, this film, deals with an issue that is a really, really important one. Now, in 1939, I think, I'm pretty sure, there was a much stronger commitment to the marriage vows. These days, in many people's eyes, if a couple fall in love, well, it's all right for them to sleep together and whatever. You know, that we're in love. Love is the thing that matters. Well, yes, love is important, but the love that the scriptures speak of, the love between a husband and wife, is not so much a fuzzy feeling, falling in love, but it's a commitment to the other person, a lifetime commitment. Right at the beginning of the Bible, in the book of Genesis, we have what people call a creation ordinance, part of God's design in creation. And in Genesis chapter 2, the second chapter of the Bible, it says, a man leaves his mother and father and is united with his wife, and they shall become one. Not only that, but Jesus himself reinforces that creation ordinance in Matthew chapter 19. Jesus said, haven't you read the scripture that says, in the beginning, the Creator made people male and female? Even that itself these days is questioned, isn't it? And God said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and unite with his wife, and the two will become one. So they are no longer two, but one. Man must not separate then what God has joined together. And it's sad, isn't it, that that sacred commitment of marriage between one man and one woman is really being greatly undermined in our society. It seems to me clear that God lays out his plan and purpose there for marriage. Not only that, so we see that in that creation ordinance, in the words of Jesus himself, and then at the end of the Bible, in the book of Revelation, we see the image of Jesus as the bridegroom coming back to claim his bride, the church, to be with him. So we need to take very, very seriously what the Bible, what God says through the scriptures, what Jesus emphasizes. And it's sad that even within the church, some people are, and even within the British Methodist Church, those words, those clear, it seems to me, words of God are being undermined, being ignored. So I'm so glad that in the film, eventually Laura did come to her senses. She went back to her husband and was embraced and loved, and to her children. Alec, meanwhile, goes off to work with his brother overseas. So that was a wonderful experience, and I thought out of that I'd just share some thoughts. So God bless you. Thank you so much for listening today.